When the Army informed the parents of Danny Chen that the 19-year-old Army private had died of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound in Afghanistan, they reacted with disbelief. Chen had not exhibited signs that he was suicidal and had just asked his family to send him additional supplies. He also had told family members that fellow soldiers targeted him with racist abuse. Chen's parents, Chinese immigrants who don't speak English fluently, turned to their community for help. Activists in New York's Chinese American community enlisted the support of local politicians, held a vigil, marched to the Pentagon, and posted a video on YouTube, all to raise awareness and demand answers about Chen's death.
On October 3rd, my cousin, Private Danny Chen, was found dead in Afghanistan, but he did not die in combat.
A week before Danny died, he was laughing with us on Facebook.
What happened to Danny?
The effort successfully captured the media's attention, and on December 21st, the military announced preliminary charges against 8 of Chen's fellow soldiers connected with his death. 1 week later, Army investigators met with Chen's parents and revealed that he had faced extensive racial harassment. Elizabeth Wu Yang is president of OCA, an Asian American advocacy group working closely with Chen's family.
He was required to do bed crawls over gravel while soldiers threw rocks at him. He was subjected to racial taunting and being called Gook, Chink, and Dragon Lady. In one incident, he was made to wear a green hard hat and give instructions to other soldiers on how to put up a tent in Chinese. Danny was the only Chinese person at this platoon.
The harassment campaign culminated on the day of his death, when he reported for guard duty but forgot his helmet.
They made him go back to get it, and then they made him do a bread crawl over 100 meters of gravel while soldiers threw rocks at him. And then shortly that morning, a gunshot was heard, and Danny, according to the investigators, was lying on the ground with his rifle next to him.
Wu Yang says not all of the family's demands have been met, including securing a hearing for the charged soldiers on U.S. soil.
They do not want these soldiers to plea bargain to any lesser offense. 5 of the 6 have been charged with negligent homicide and involuntary manslaughter. Whether homicide or suicide, there's no question that their actions drove Danny to his death.
As supporters and loved ones continue to press for justice, organizer Esther Choi says the Asian American community's advocacy made a difference in speeding up the military's response.
Because I think if we hadn't had that action and we hadn't built up that attention, then it could have just been another passing thing that no one would have paid attention to.
Chen's case has given a hope to other families seeking answers about loved ones in the military who died under suspicious circumstances. One case with striking similarities is that of Hampson Daniels McPherson Jr., a 21-year-old U.S. Marine who the military says took his own life by dousing himself with gasoline, then lighting himself on fire, while stationed at a base in Okinawa, Japan. McPherson was also a New Yorker and son of immigrant parents. And just like Chen, McPherson's family also alleges that he was subjected to racist hazing by fellow soldiers leading up to his death. His father, Hampson McPherson Sr., said his son's problems began in late 2010 when he responded to racist taunts.
He called and he told me, he says, "Daddy, I'm sorry, but I had a problem." I said, "What happened?" He says, a white Marine constantly called him cotton-picking nigger, and he lost it. He lost his temper. They fought, and this Marine got the worst of it.
McPherson says his son continued complaining of racist treatment over the next 6 months, until his death in May. The military has not identified the 2 individuals who they say witnessed the incident. Officials say that a security camera that would have recorded McPherson's death was not functional at the time. The McPherson family received a visit from the military, which further fueled their doubt over the circumstances surrounding their son's death. The investigator brought along what he said was a suicide note, but McPherson's 18-year-old sister, Danielle, says she questions its authenticity.
I asked, can I look at it? And then they gave it to me, and it was, on, plain, printing paper, and it was, handwritten. And it was, a whole bunch of stuff like he would never say, and then it wasn't even his handwriting. Like I can't read his handwriting. Like I have to like squint, and like it was like kind of neat, so it was just weird. It didn't look like he would write it.
The family says the military refused to accept a sample of McPherson's writing to help verify the note's authenticity. Unlike Chen's family, the McPhersons have not been able to rally support for his case.
We've tried to get people involved, but I feel like people have like this mental block about the military and like the power that they have, and they think like they don't want to get involved because something could happen to them, or they're scared to be put out there like that. So we've tried to like have the same thing going, but we just don't have the same type of people behind us.
The McPherson family says they hope the massive media attention Chen's death has received will help their efforts and pressure the military to fully investigate how Hampson McPherson Jr. died. As both families await details of the deaths of their loved ones, they say they will continue raising awareness until those responsible are brought to justice. They're also calling for the military to institute reforms that will prevent similar race-based hazing in the future. Reporting for The Real News and FSRN, this is Jessel Noor in New York.